Tonight we're going to wander into something both simple and extraordinary. 9 timeless Buddhist teachings that hold the power to shift the way you see happiness. Not the "I bought a new gadget" kind of happiness, or the "I finally got promoted" kind. No, this is the kind of happiness that lives quietly inside you, waiting to be noticed. If you've been chasing peace of mind like it's hidden at the bottom of a bag of chips, you're probably exhausted. And honestly, you wouldn't survive that hunt very long anyway. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here on Zen Sleep Stories. And while you're at it, I'd love to know where you are right now. Drop a quick comment with your location and the time of day you're watching. It always amazes me how this little circle of calm connects people across so many different places. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You take a slow breath, and the world feels like it's pausing with you. Somewhere out there, people are still rushing, chasing, worrying, but here, right now, you've given yourself a gift, the chance to slow down, to listen, to open up to a wisdom that has traveled across centuries and still speaks in whispers to anyone willing to hear. And as we begin, you'll notice the teachings unfold like stepping stones across a quiet river, each one steady, simple, and ready to carry you closer to peace. The first step, as you'll soon see, is about something we so often overlook, even though it's the only thing we truly have. 1. Living in the present moment. Think about how many times today your mind has already traveled somewhere else. Maybe you replayed that awkward conversation from last week, or maybe you worried about a meeting you have tomorrow. And all the while, the moment you were actually in the smell of your morning coffee, the sound of the birds outside, the feel of your own breath slipped right by unnoticed. The Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." Simple words, but they carry a weight that could change your life. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with old regrets in one pocket and future anxieties in the other. No wonder walking through life feels exhausting. Setting that pack down, even for a few minutes, feels like breathing freely for the first time. When you live in the present, something magical happens. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The sunlight hitting your skin doesn't just feel warm, it feels like a reminder that you're alive. A shared laugh with a friend isn't just another joke, it's proof that joy can show up out of nowhere. Even something as simple as feeling your lungs expand with a deep breath becomes a doorway into peace. It's not about ignoring your responsibilities. You still have bills, deadlines, and family dinners that might feel like mini board meetings. But presence means finding balance, caring for what needs to be done, without losing yourself to the endless swirl of what-ifs and should-haves. It's choosing to stand on solid ground instead of being swept away by the tide of thoughts. Here's the thing. The mind loves to chatter. It wants to drag you back to that embarrassing text you sent in 2013, or leap ahead to the imaginary argument you'll have with your boss next week. But right now is the only moment where life is actually happening. Yesterday's already gone. Tomorrow isn't here yet. The only place you can really live is right here, in this breath. Try it with me. Feel the air move in and out of your body. Notice the weight of your body against the chair or the bed. Listen. Maybe it's just the soft hum of the fan in your room or the faint sounds of the night outside. That's reality. That's the moment. And it's enough. Living this way doesn't make your problems disappear, but it changes how you face them. Instead of being tangled up in fear or regret, you can respond with clarity. You can actually taste your food, hear the music, see the colors of the sunset. You start to realize that happiness isn't some distant prize, it's woven into the fabric of the now. So, the next time your mind pulls you backward or forward, gently bring it back. Anchor yourself in the present, like a ship steadying itself in the harbor. You'll find the waves still move, but they don't carry you away. And here's a thought to carry with you. If happiness truly begins in the present, what happens when we stop clinging so tightly to the things we think will bring us joy? That's the path we'll step onto next. 2. Letting go of desire. Desire is a tricky thing. On the surface, it feels like fuel. It's what pushes you to chase goals, to work harder, to buy that shiny new thing you think will finally make you happy. But if you've ever actually caught what you were chasing, you already know the truth. The satisfaction fades, the new car smell wears off, the applause dies down, and before long, you're looking for the next thing. Desire doesn't stop once you feed it, it only gets hungrier. The Buddha taught that attachment to desire is one of the main roots of suffering. That doesn't mean you have to reject joy or live without pleasure. It doesn't mean you can't love people or appreciate the things you own. It means holding them gently instead of clinging so tightly that you end up hurting yourself. Imagine holding a beautiful flower. If you squeeze it hard, the petals break, the fragrance fades, and all you're left with is a crushed stem. But if you hold it softly, you can enjoy its beauty for as long as it lasts. Think about it. How many times have you thought, if only I get this one thing, then I'll finally be happy? Maybe it was a relationship, a house, a number in your bank account, and maybe you reached it, but did it really bring the lasting peace you imagined? Or did your mind move the finish line and whisper, okay, now what's next? That cycle is exhausting. It's like running on a treadmill that never stops, always believing the next step will finally get you somewhere. A story tells of a man obsessed with wealth. No matter how much he gained, it wasn't enough. One day, a wise teacher asked him to hold a handful of sand. The man gripped it tightly, and the grains slipped through his fingers until almost nothing was left. The teacher smiled and said, "The more you cling, the more you lose." It was only when the man loosened his grip that he could actually hold the sand in his palm. That's the heart of letting go. You don't have to renounce everything. You don't have to live in a cave. You just have to stop depending on desire to define your happiness. Enjoy what comes, let it go when it leaves, and understand that your peace doesn't come from what you own or what you achieve. It comes from being free. In modern life, this teaching feels almost radical. We're constantly told to want more, to upgrade our phone, our job, even ourselves. Ads whisper, "You're not enough until you buy this." Social media shows highlight reels that make us believe happiness looks like someone else's vacation or someone else's body. But chasing those illusions only deepens the craving. Letting go of desire doesn't make you passive. It makes you lighter. It frees up your energy for what truly matters, your relationships, your creativity, your peace of mind. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered room. At first, you feel resistance. You don't want to let go of those old clothes or dusty boxes, but once you do, the space feels open, clear, and calm. Desire is the clutter of the heart. Release it, and suddenly you can breathe again. Now, pause with me for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, what's one desire you've been clinging to so tightly it's been draining your energy? You don't have to write it down, but if you want to, share it in the comments. Sometimes naming it is the first step to loosening its grip. And remember, letting go doesn't mean giving up on life. It means stepping off the endless treadmill and realizing you are already standing on solid ground. The truth is, desire will always knock at your door, but you don't have to invite it in for dinner. You can notice it, smile at it, and let it pass by. Each time you do, you reclaim a little more peace, a little more freedom, a little more of yourself. And here's something to think about as we move forward. If even our desires can be a trap, what about the words we speak every day? The ones that can heal or harm, connect or divide? What happens when we learn to guide our speech with wisdom and compassion? That's where our next step leads. 3. Right speech. Words are powerful. They can be bridges or they can be walls. Every day you open your mouth and send ripples out into the world, and those ripples either carry kindness or they carry harm. The Buddha's teaching of right speech is an invitation to notice that power, to see that the way you speak is shaping your relationships, your peace of mind, and even the way you see yourself. Think for a moment about the last time someone's words cut deep. Maybe it was just a careless comment, a sharp tone, or gossip passed along like it was nothing. Those words probably stayed with you longer than the person who spoke them realized. Now think of the opposite, the last time someone encouraged you, thanked you, or told you the truth in a gentle way. Those words also stayed, but they gave you strength. The mouth is small, but the impact is massive. Right speech asks 3 simple questions before you speak. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it helpful? Truth without kindness can be a weapon. Kindness without truth can be empty. Helpfulness without either can miss the mark. But when all 3 line up, words become medicine. They don't just avoid harm, they actually heal. Picture this. A friend comes to you with a mistake they made at work. You could lash out, criticize, or laugh at them behind their back. That might make you feel powerful for a moment, but it leaves scars. Instead, imagine you tell them, yes, that was a mistake, but it happens to everyone. Here's how we can fix it. That one choice plants seeds of trust and safety. That's right speech in action, and it doesn't stop with big moments. Even the little things matter. The quick sarcasm, the half-truth you tell to avoid conflict, the rumor you repeat because it's entertaining. Each of those choices either feeds peace or feeds suffering. Gossip might feel like bonding in the moment, but it poisons relationships over time. Lies might feel like shortcuts, but they build walls of distrust. Harsh words might feel like release, but they often chain you to regret. Right speech isn't about being fake or overly sweet. It's about honesty with compassion. It's about remembering that words echo long after they're spoken. Imagine tossing a stone into a pond. You can't take it back once it leaves your hand. The ripples spread no matter what. Words are the same. Here's something you can try tonight or tomorrow. Pause before you say something, especially when you feel heated. Ask yourself, will this help or will this harm? That tiny pause can be the difference between deepening a wound or opening a door. If the answer is no, silence can sometimes be the most compassionate speech of all. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It can mean wisdom. In a world full of noise, tweets, posts, arguments, it's easy to forget the value of words that uplift. But think about how refreshing it feels when someone says something genuine, clear, and kind. You can be that person for others. You can make your conversations places of peace instead of battlefields. Right now, think of one phrase you could offer tomorrow that would brighten someone's day. Maybe it's, I appreciate you. Maybe it's, I'm proud of you. Or maybe it's simply, thank you. If one comes to mind, share it in the comments. You never know, your intention might inspire someone else who's listening tonight. As you carry this teaching with you, notice how it changes not just your words, but your awareness. When your speech becomes more mindful, your heart becomes lighter. You're less tangled in regret, more connected to others, and more at ease within yourself. Right speech doesn't just change conversations, it changes lives. Now here's a question to take with you. If words can reshape the world, what about the simple act of noticing what's already good in your life? How does gratitude turn even ordinary days into treasures? That's where our path leads next. 4. Cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is one of those quiet powers we tend to underestimate. It doesn't look flashy. It doesn't promise instant success, but it has the strange ability to flip the way you see the world in a single breath. The Buddha once said, "Let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. If we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. If we got sick, At least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful. There's humor in those words, but also deep wisdom. Gratitude isn't about ignoring pain or pretending life is perfect. It's about noticing the good that still exists even in the middle of difficulty. Think about a typical day. You wake up, check your phone, scroll through the endless feed of things you don't have, trips you didn't take, milestones you didn't hit, lives that look shinier than yours. By the time you've finished breakfast, you already feel behind. Gratitude cuts through that illusion. It shifts your eyes from what's missing to what's already present. The warmth of the coffee in your hands, the sound of someone laughing in the next room. Even the fact that you can breathe deeply right now, these aren't small things, they're everything. There's a story told of two travelers. One walked through the forest grumbling about the heat, the bugs, the uneven path. The other walked beside him noticing the shade of the trees, the sound of birds, the strength of his own legs carrying him forward. Same path, same conditions, but completely different journeys. Gratitude doesn't change the forest. It changes the traveler. In modern life, gratitude can feel almost countercultural. Everything pushes you to want more, upgrade, improve. Advertisements are designed to whisper, "You're not enough until you buy this." Gratitude answers, "I already have enough to be thankful for right here." And here's the paradox: when you focus on what you have, you feel more abundant than when you're endlessly chasing what you lack. You don't have to wait for something big to practice gratitude. Start with the ordinary. Write down 3 things at the end of the day that made it worth living. They can be as simple as the taste of your dinner, a kind message from a friend, or the way the sky looked at sunset. Over time, this practice rewires your mind to see blessings everywhere. Even challenges become teachers. Even pain becomes a reminder of resilience. Right now, pause with me. Think of one thing, just one, that you're grateful for at this moment. It doesn't have to be profound. Maybe it's the bed you're lying on, or the fact that you've given yourself permission to slow down and listen tonight. Hold it in your mind, breathe it in, and notice how your body softens. Gratitude works like that. It's simple, but it changes everything. And if you feel comfortable, share one thing you're grateful for in the comments. Your words might remind someone else of a blessing they've overlooked in their own life. Gratitude multiplies when it's shared. As you carry this teaching forward, you'll notice something. Gratitude doesn't erase hardship, but it balances it. It teaches you that even when life feels heavy, there are still reasons to smile, reasons to keep going, reasons to feel alive. When you practice gratitude, you start living in fullness instead of emptiness. And here's something to wonder about as we take the next step. If gratitude shows us that we already have enough, then why do we keep piling on more and more, chasing complexity that often weighs us down? What if the real secret to happiness isn't adding, but subtracting? That's the path we'll walk next. 5. Embracing simplicity. We live in a world that celebrates more. More possessions, more achievements, more followers, more everything. The shelves are stacked, the ads are loud, and the message is clear. Happiness is just one more purchase away. But how many times have you reached for that promise, only to feel the same emptiness when the newness wore off? The Buddha taught that true peace comes not from adding more, but from needing less. Simplicity is not deprivation, it's freedom. Imagine your life as a house. Over the years, you've filled every room with furniture, boxes, and random clutter you don't even remember buying. At first, you thought it made the house feel full, but now, you can't move without bumping into something. The space feels heavy, crowded, overwhelming. Then one day, you start clearing things out. A chair here, a box there. Slowly, the rooms breathe again. Suddenly, you can see the floor, feel the space, and walk freely. That's what simplicity does for your mind and your heart. It's easy to confuse simplicity with lack. People might say, "But I don't want to give everything up." The truth is, you don't have to. Simplicity isn't about rejecting life's pleasures. It's about asking, do I really need this to be happy? And more often than not, the answer is no. A closet full of clothes doesn't bring more joy than a few you actually love. A schedule packed with endless commitments doesn't bring more meaning than time spent with people you care about. Think of a meal. When the table is piled high with every dish imaginable, you end up stuffed, distracted, maybe even regretful. But when you sit down to a simple plate of food, something nourishing, you can taste every bite. Life is the same. The more we pile on, the harder it becomes to actually enjoy what's in front of us. Here's something practical you can try. Tonight, before you go to sleep, look around your space. Pick one thing you don't really need anymore. It might be an object, a task, or even a thought you've been carrying. Ask yourself, what if I let this go? That single choice can be the first step into the freedom of simplicity. Simplicity also shows up in the way we spend our time. How often do we cram our schedules so full that we never pause to breathe? Simplicity says, slow down. Do one thing with your whole heart instead of 3 things halfway. Drink your coffee without checking your phone. Walk without rushing. Talk to someone without glancing at the clock. These small acts strip life back to what matters most. And here's a reminder, you don't need to wait until your life feels perfect to embrace simplicity. Start where you are. Start small. The Buddha taught that peace comes not from chasing what we don't have, but from appreciating what's already here. And simplicity makes that possible. Pause with me for a moment. Imagine your life with just a little less noise, a little less clutter, a little less rush. How would it feel to have space in your day, space in your mind, space in your heart? That space is where peace lives. That's the gift simplicity offers. If this idea resonates with you, let me know in the comments. What's one small way you could simplify your life this week? Maybe it's clearing a drawer, saying no to an obligation, or even taking 5 quiet minutes for yourself. Sharing it might inspire someone else to take their own step toward freedom. And as we move forward, think about this. If simplicity clears the space for peace, what happens when we fill that space with compassion? How does turning outward to care for others deepen the joy within us? That's where our next journey takes us. 6. Practicing compassion. There's a story about a young monk who couldn't escape the weight of his own regrets. He worried about mistakes he had made, and he feared what the future might bring. His teacher saw this struggle and pointed to a tree outside. "Look at that tree," the teacher said. "It doesn't dwell on what is past or what is yet to come. It simply stands, rooted, alive in this moment." The young monk slowly began to understand that peace is found in presence. But he discovered something else too, that when he shifted his focus from himself to helping others, his burdens grew lighter. That is the heart of compassion. Compassion in Buddhism is not just about feeling sorry for someone. It's about stepping into their shoes and recognizing our shared humanity. It's realizing that the same struggles you carry, fear, doubt, pain, live in others as well. And when you act with kindness, you're not just healing them, you're healing yourself. Think about the last time someone showed you compassion. Maybe a friend listened without judgment. Maybe a stranger held the door when your hands were full. Small acts, yes, but they ripple outward in ways we rarely see. Compassion isn't measured by size. It's measured by sincerity. The Buddha taught that offering compassion brings joy not just to the receiver, but to the giver. Modern science agrees. Acts of kindness release chemicals in the brain that make you feel lighter, calmer, even happier. It's as if we're wired for compassion, as if joy and kindness were always meant to travel together. In daily life, compassion can feel hard. We're busy, we're tired. Sometimes people frustrate us, and sometimes we don't feel like they deserve our kindness. But compassion doesn't ask whether someone deserves it. It asks whether we can see them clearly as another human being just trying to make it through the day. Here's something simple you can try. Tomorrow, look for one opportunity to ease someone's burden. It might be as small as offering a smile, letting someone go ahead of you in line, or sending a kind message to a friend who's been quiet lately. Don't underestimate these gestures. They plant seeds, and often they bloom in ways you'll never fully see. Pause with me here. Picture someone in your life who might be struggling. What would it look like to extend compassion toward them, even in the smallest way? Let that thought settle in your heart. And if you'd like, share in the comments one way you plan to show compassion this week. Your intention could spark a chain of kindness far beyond what you imagine. Compassion also works inward. Too often we are harshest with ourselves. We replay our mistakes, criticize our flaws, demand perfection. Practicing compassion means offering yourself the same gentleness you'd offer a friend. It means remembering you are human, and being human is messy. The more you soften toward yourself, the more naturally you can soften toward others. When compassion becomes a habit, the world looks different. The stranger on the street isn't just a face in the crowd. The co-worker who snaps at you isn't just rude. They might be carrying something heavy you can't see. Compassion opens your eyes to the invisible battles all around you, and it guides you to meet them with kindness instead of judgment. And here's the beautiful part. Compassion doesn't drain you. It fills you. Every act of understanding, every gentle word, every moment of patience builds a sense of connection that no amount of wealth or success can replace. It reminds you that we are not alone here. We're walking this path together. Now, think about this. If compassion is about seeing clearly and acting with kindness, then how do we keep ourselves balanced when life constantly pulls us to extremes? How do we walk a steady path between indulgence on one side and harsh denial on the other? That's the wisdom of the middle way, and it's where we'll journey next. 7. Walking the middle way. The Buddha once described life as a lute string. If the string is pulled too tight, it snaps. If it's left too loose, it cannot play. But when it's balanced just tight enough, it produces music. This is the middle way. A life of harmony, not leaning into extremes of indulgence or harsh denial, but finding balance in the space between. Think about how often the world pushes us to extremes. One moment we're told to chase every pleasure, every experience, every upgrade. The next, we're bombarded with the idea that we must strip ourselves bare, hustle harder, or sacrifice endlessly to be worthy. Both paths lead to exhaustion. One burns us out by too much, the other by too little. The middle way is not about giving up. And it's not about giving in. It's about finding the rhythm that allows you to live with both peace and joy. Imagine someone who overeats at every meal. Their body suffers. Now imagine someone who starves themselves in pursuit of control. Their body also suffers. Both extremes deny the truth of life, that nourishment lies in balance. The same applies to work. Pushing yourself endlessly leads to burnout. Avoiding all responsibility leads to stagnation. The middle way is showing up fully, but with gentleness toward yourself. In modern culture, the middle way feels almost rebellious. Social media celebrates the highlight reels. People pulling all-nighters to grind, or showing off lifestyles built on indulgence. But beneath those glossy images, the reality is often fatigue, emptiness, and longing. The middle way whispers a quieter truth. Happiness doesn't come from swinging wildly between extremes. It comes from walking steady, one mindful step at a time. Here's something you can practice. When you feel yourself pulled to an extreme, pause. Ask, is this nourishing me, or is this draining me? That simple question can guide you back to balance. If you've been overworking, maybe the middle way means giving yourself permission to rest. If you've been avoiding responsibilities, maybe it means taking one small step forward instead of none. Pause with me now. Take a breath and scan your own life. Where do you feel stretched too tight? Where do you feel too loose? Maybe it's your relationship with food, or your habits with technology, or the way you use your time. Notice one area where balance could bring more peace, and if you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. Sometimes simply naming the imbalance helps us begin to adjust. The middle way is not about perfection. It's not about walking a straight line without stumbling. It's about returning again and again to balance. Some days you'll tip one way, some days the other. But each time you notice and adjust, you strengthen your ability to walk with ease. Over time, that steady rhythm becomes second nature. And here's the gift. A balanced life isn't dull. It's rich. It's full. It allows space for joy without clinging, for discipline without cruelty. It gives you the freedom to savor life without being consumed by it. It teaches you that peace doesn't come from either extreme, but from living in harmony with yourself and the world around you. Now, consider this. If balance is the key to walking through life with steadiness, what happens when we bring our attention inward and begin to quiet the noise of our own mind? What happens when we sit still, breathe deeply, and let the present moment reveal itself fully? That's the path of meditation, and it's where we'll turn next. 8. The practice of meditation. There's a story of a young monk who once asked his teacher, "How can I find peace?" The teacher replied, "Sit down, be still, let go of everything, and listen." At first, the monk thought this sounded too simple, but as he practiced, he noticed his thoughts beginning to settle, like ripples smoothing out on the surface of a lake. That is the quiet gift of meditation. In our modern lives, the mind rarely stops moving. It jumps from emails to errands, from worries about tomorrow to memories of yesterday. We scroll through screens, answer notifications, and carry a constant hum of distraction. Meditation is like pressing pause on all of that noise. It doesn't mean forcing your mind to be blank. It means observing your thoughts without being dragged away by them. Imagine sitting by a river. Leaves float past on the surface. Each leaf is a thought, one about your to-do list, one about that awkward thing you said years ago, one about what might happen if things go wrong tomorrow. Normally, you chase after those leaves, trying to grab them or push them away. But in meditation, you just sit and watch them pass. You don't cling, you don't resist. You just notice and let them flow. Even a few minutes of meditation can make a difference. Studies have shown it lowers stress, improves focus, and even helps with sleep. But beyond the science, it gives you something deeper, the experience of simply being. Sitting in stillness, feeling your breath move in and out, you begin to realize that you are not your racing thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Right now, wherever you are, take one slow breath with me. In through the nose, gentle and steady. Out through the mouth, soft and calm. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Notice how even that single breath slows the rush of your body and mind. That's meditation in its simplest form. The beauty of meditation is that it doesn't require special equipment, a perfect setting, or hours of free time. You can practice in bed before sleep, in the car before work, or even while waiting in line. It's not about escaping life. It's about being fully present in it. The more you practice, the more that calm clarity spills into the rest of your day. If you've been feeling restless, anxious, or overwhelmed, try setting aside just 5 minutes tomorrow to sit quietly. No phone, no distractions, just breathe and watch. And if you want to take it further, let us know in the comments. What's your biggest challenge with meditation right now? Your answer might encourage someone else who's been struggling to start. Over time, meditation becomes less of a practice and more of a way of living. You'll notice yourself responding to stress with patience instead of panic. You'll catch yourself pausing before speaking, listening more deeply, seeing more clearly. Life begins to feel less like a storm dragging you along and more like a calm sea where you can steer your own course. Meditation doesn't fix every problem, but it changes the way you hold them. It creates space in your mind and your heart so that peace has room to grow. And that peace, once rooted, doesn't just stay with you. It flows outward, shaping the way you move through the world. Now ask yourself this. If meditation helps calm the mind, what other practice strengthens our ability to act with integrity, to guide our choices with clarity, and to live with deeper purpose? The answer is self-discipline, and it's the step waiting just ahead. 9. The strength of self-discipline. The Buddha once said, "Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts." But self-discipline, or sila in Buddhist teaching, is the practice of guarding your actions, words, and mind so they lead toward peace instead of suffering. It's not about punishing yourself or following rules blindly. It's about choosing, moment by moment, to live in alignment with your highest values. Think about how often our lives are shaped not by big decisions, but by small repeated ones. Hitting snooze for the third time. Snapping at someone because we're tired. Reaching for comfort in ways that only add more stress later. Each of those choices shapes the path we walk. Self-discipline is like steering the wheel of your life instead of letting it drift wherever the current pulls. In modern culture, discipline often gets a bad reputation. We imagine strict diets, rigid routines, or harsh self-control that squeezes the joy out of living. But true discipline is gentler. It's the steady hand that guides you back when you wander. It's the reminder that your words matter, that your actions ripple outward, that your thoughts can either free you or chain you. Picture a garden. Without care, weeds grow quickly, taking over until the flowers are choked out. But with consistent tending pulling the weeds, watering the soil, the garden flourishes. Self-discipline is that daily tending of the heart and mind. It's not glamorous, but it creates the space where joy and peace can grow. Here's something you can try. Tomorrow, choose one small act of discipline. Maybe it's pausing before you speak when you feel irritated. Maybe it's putting your phone down an hour earlier so you can rest. Maybe it's replacing one moment of negativity with a word of kindness. It doesn't need to be dramatic. Small disciplines practiced daily build into a strong, steady life. Pause here with me. Reflect on one area where you'd like more balance. Is it your time, your habits, your thoughts? What's one simple practice that could help bring you closer to the life you want to live? If you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. Your intention might inspire someone else who's listening tonight. Self-discipline also protects our relationships. When we choose not to lash out, not to lie, not to act in ways that harm others, we create safety. People trust us. They feel peace in our presence. And that trust becomes a foundation we can build on again and again. But discipline isn't only about others. It's about your own inner freedom. When you're able to pause before reacting, you stop being a prisoner of your impulses. Anger no longer controls you. Fear no longer dictates your choices. Greed no longer drags you into cycles of regret. You begin to live with clarity, calm, and purpose. And the best part is, every day is a new chance. The Buddha reminded us, each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Discipline isn't about never failing. It's about returning to your path each time you stumble. It's about remembering you can begin again, right here, right now. Self-discipline is a lifelong practice. Some days it feels easy, some days it feels impossible. But over time, it becomes less about effort and more about who you are. A person who walks with integrity. a person who speaks with care, a person who lives in peace with themselves and with the world around them. And here's something to carry with you as we move forward. If self-discipline builds the structure for a peaceful life, what happens when we weave all these teachings together? Presence, letting go, right speech, gratitude, simplicity, compassion, balance, meditation, and discipline. Into one path. Where does that journey lead? That's the horizon we'll begin to glimpse in the next steps ahead. You've walked through 9 teachings tonight, each one like a stepping stone across a quiet river. Living in the present, letting go of desire, speaking with care, practicing gratitude, embracing simplicity, opening your heart to compassion, finding balance on the middle way, calming the mind through meditation, and guiding your choices with self-discipline. Alone, each practice carries wisdom. Together, they form a path. A map that leads you closer to the kind of happiness that doesn't vanish when circumstances change. The truth is, happiness isn't hidden in some distant future. It isn't locked away in possessions, titles, or approval. It's here, woven into the breath you're taking right now. The more you practice these teachings, the more you realize peace isn't something to chase, it's something to uncover. It's always been waiting inside you. So as you lie here tonight, maybe with your eyes heavy and your body finally at ease, let these teachings settle into your heart like seeds. They don't need to grow all at once. Just one small practice, one gentle step is enough. In time, you'll notice the garden of your life becoming calmer, lighter, more full of joy. If you found value in tonight's journey, I invite you to subscribe to Zen Sleep Stories and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll always know when a new path opens up for us to walk together. And I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments which teaching spoke to you most deeply tonight. Your reflection might be the exact words someone else needs to hear. For now, rest easy. The day is over, and you've given yourself this gift of quiet wisdom. May your night be peaceful, your dreams light, and your heart steady. And when tomorrow comes, may you carry even one of these teachings with you, like a candle that softens the darkness. This is Zen Sleep Stories, wishing you a deep, gentle rest and a joyful tomorrow. Now let go, drift softly, and allow yourself to sleep.